So I just recently put out my Sunshine review video, and had plenty of positive things to say about it. But there are some pretty sore sticking points in that game that are unavoidable. I mean, not literally unavoidable, as many of the worst shine gets are completely optional. But still, the bad ones really stand out. That video was already pretty long, and I didn't even go in depth with some of the most dreadful star obtains, so that's what I'll be doing here. This will act as a sort of supplement to that review, much like my blooper reel was for Mario 64. I've ranked my 10 worst levels, and naturally, we'll explore them in descending order, starting with the best of the bad.
Number 10. Boo Roulette.
Our first entry takes us to Serena Beach, Episode 5, where we'll have a boss battle under the casino. Getting there is pretty easy. We'll just ground pound this purple roulette slot, and down we go. Here, we'll face a giant ghost with a slot reel, reminding me of that Halloween Town boss from KH1. We can ground pound the roulette floor to stop it from spinning, but that's only a temporary fix. We'll spray Big Boo to get this started, and now RNG takes over. Various different outcomes will send out a multitude of enemies we can defeat or just wait out. Bubbles will restore our water gauge, coins will restore our health, but in order to defeat him, we'll have to get lucky with some fruits. And this is the most finicky part of the battle. Shout out to the guy who decided to put the grab function and the dive on the same button. Yeah, the dive is only when moving, but I have to run towards the fruit to pick it up anyway. By throwing the fruit at him, it will splat in his face and he'll lick it off, causing no damage. But we can give those taste buds a sizzle with a pepper. The problem is, they'll inexplicably do absolutely nothing most of the time. Is there something I'm missing? The fruit has a 100% hit rate, and the peppers do not. But if he does taste the heat, we slam him with another fruit, this time damaging him. What I don't understand is the logistics of it. This would make sense if he batted the fruits away with his tongue while in a normal state, and only the Burning Boo tongue was incapable of parrying this attack. But the fruit hits his face in both instances. Only one of them hurts, and the other doesn't. Oh well, that isn't the main reason I dislike this level. Really, it's just because the fight drags on and on. Especially if he summons a few enemy reels, one after the other.
Number 9. Corona Rockets.
Our next one doesn't directly give us a shine, but it's the road to the final boss. This level is short, so it's not too much of an issue, but one section stands out to me for being especially bad. No, it's not the boat ride. The very last section has us trade in our hover nozzle for the rocket nozzle, and up we go through various levels of clouds. It seems pretty straightforward, and at times, it is. But I've replayed this section quite a few times in the process of writing and compiling these videos, and sometimes it just gives me trouble, even when I've completed it easily before. The camera doesn't give us a very good visibility on where we're blasting to. It's easy to overshoot your landing, since the rocket height is greater than the cloud height. You can slip after landing, which, I don't know, maybe that was my fault? The ring of clouds spread further out the higher you go, so a miss can land you in the instant death lava. The rocket uses a lot of water, so you can end up stranded and need to return to the ground floor. And finally, this fourth layer of cloud platforms will switch their directions up on you, and I'm already having trouble soaring high.
Number 8. The Sandbird.
I like the build up to this one. Episodes 2 and 3 of Gelato Beach revolve around the sandbird egg and the wriggler that wants to eat it, or at least steal its warmth. So when we enter episode 4, we can belly slide down and transport to the bird from its egg. We've got 8 red coins to collect, and right away, you can feel how awkward the physics are here. I get that we're affected by the aerodynamics of the bird's flight, but who said it had to be realistic? The bird itself surely isn't real. It helps to get the riskier ones first, then tackle the wings. But watch out for that flapping. This means old Sandy is going in for a barrel roll, or at least minus 90 degrees on the roll axis. This is the trickiest part. We'll have to remain upright as our ground shifts, and it can be hard to tell at what point exactly the floor turns into a wall. Hovering is the go-to, but it's not a foolproof plan. He turns so slowly, you may not land the way you want when your water runs out. You may think this cloud can be of help, but it only really blocked my vision. I'm better at completing this level now than when I first got into Sunshine on 3D All-Stars, but thinking back to my initial attempts, this one was a doozy. I remember falling off the bird, managing to save myself on some cloud, then waiting an eternity for it to fly back around, only to die right after returning to the bird. And there's also the frustration of not knowing where that final coin is at when all the others are on the bird itself.
Number 7. Watermelon Roll.
This next one brings us again to Gelato Beach. The Watermelon Festival is in full swing, but instead of celebrating, we've signed up for a competition. The biggest melon sits at the top of the hill, and we have to roll it down to the juice stand unharmed. Easier said than done. These cataquacks are everywhere, and we have to avoid them as we roll along. Unfortunately, we can't get rid of them for good. We're only able to stun them temporarily. And if they're stuck in our path, then splat goes the melon. I never figured watermelons to be this fragile. Pushing it down the hill feels very hit or miss. I'm not sure I'm actively in control. You may hit it into an enemy, or you may lose sight of it altogether. Sometimes you get lucky, and that giant watermelon makes it to the far beach unharmed. This is the easier portion of the level. The grass is basically a no-go. Our final quest is to push it down the dock slowly. Slowly. I'm always very careful here, but I've always wondered what would happen if it hits the water. But who could be dumb enough to try that this close to victory?
Number 6. Bowser Boss.
Next up is actually our final challenge in the game. This one maybe wouldn't be ranked so low if it weren't for the expectations that follow a final battle, but this one just isn't very exciting. We don't even fight Bowser directly, which isn't the first time, but they could have done better. Flood is utilized with the rocket function, but the standard sprayer isn't needed, and the hover isn't present. We've got 5 targets to ultra ground pound into, but sometimes the nozzle will just sputter out and doesn't launch. Don't know why. Landing on a Bula Bill can be devastating. And when you do smash the target, this crumble section feels so weird. There's something wacky going on with the physics in this specific instance. It's like the gravity is doubled to coincide with the ground dropping out. And it's so easy to lose control of Mario here. Why does he go side to side so easily? Why is that direction lock so aggressive Now of all times. And what the heck even happened here? Most things are back to normal back at Bowser's tub, but one thing tends to trip me up. Look, I hate to be constantly blaming my deaths on the camera, but one common denomination is that whenever my camera control is limited or taken away, the death toll always rises. If I'm not in full control, then I can't take the full blame, right? When else in this game is the camera fixed to a gimbal, automatically following my side profile? I do like how Junior helps out, sending bullet bills at us. And even Peach is present, chilling on a duck floaty.
Number 5. Balloon Coaster.
Pinna Park Episode 8 features our next worst shine. It's a repeat of the roller coaster minigame, so already points off. But this time around, we have to shoot all 20 balloons within 3 laps. Why do we have to do this? I don't know, but we do. Starting up this minigame, I'm gonna get right into it. The controls here are atrocious. Look, I know I'm the invert everything guy, but that does not mean I want the left stick inverted. This feels so wrong. But we can change this by toggling the Mario cam. Problem is, this doesn't feel right either. Now I'm double flipped around, unsure of which way is up, or left, or sideways. It's like my brain and hands went through a Mobius-Klein vortex, and now I'm thinking inside out from an opposite dimension. Whose idea was it to map this control exclusively to the left analog stick? That is psychotic. We go this whole game, and every other, looking around with the right analog stick. Why reinvent the gyroscope? This ride already has me dizzy enough, with all the loops and turns. All of that aside, shooting these balloons sucks. You may think you aimed it right, but that missile goes soaring right past. Or you steady your shot, and bam, the roller coaster turns right as you press the button. When you miss a balloon, you're just on standby until you pick up another limited missile. And some balloons can only really be hit from specific spots. And if you're too slow to look around and locate it in time, well, hopefully you've got another lap. Failing to do so will have Mario drop straight out of the coaster and take a life. I am certain that's a safety violation.
Number 4. Yoshi Fruit Adventure.
This one brings us to Rico Harbor, Episode 8, where one thing is immediately clear. There is no Yoshi. This is level 2, and Yoshi is unlocked in level 4, but there is no indication that you need to come back later to do this shine. Flood stays silent, and the Piazzas have other things on their minds. The only hint you get, if you can call it a hint, is some NPCs will occasionally speak of Yoshis like a long-lost legend, which is fine, until their presence is multiplied. Okay, returning now with Yoshi unlocked, we still have to wake him up. Our dino wants a durian, and the source? These 2 fruit pumps. We ground pound them one at a time, alternating pumps, as fruit after fruit plop out that are usually not durians. I don't know if this is actually the case, but the spawn rate for the durians feels much lower than any other fruit. Worse yet, is the fruits don't disappear automatically upon slamming that fruit pump. If enough are out already, it will just do nothing until you dispose of some of the fruits, or wait a very long time. Resuming at last, our pump troubles aren't over. Most fruits can roll away from the spout, but if you get a banana, it will stay put. So when that durian does come flooding out the pipe, its landing is compromised. and into the water it goes. Okay, say you finally get an adequate durian spawn. You can't pick it up, so you gotta kick it over to Yoshi. This probably shouldn't be an issue. I mean, you don't gotta beam it over a canal or anything. So with his choice of fruit eaten, Yoshi is available to ride. Hopefully nothing in this level causes him to despawn. Water. For whatever reason, they made Yoshis die in the water. Look, I know mechanics need to have limits, and trying to swim on a Yoshi back all the way to this freight elevator may have been cumbersome. But why water? You feeling alright, Yosh? Okay, next we have to create a platform over to these high-rise landings. So how do we do that? Well, duh. We have to shoot juice from a dinosaur's mouth at some jumping fish who will then turn into floating platforms that move horizontally away from us. Obviously. As ridiculous as that is, it's not hard to figure out naturally. You get Yoshi here. Between him and the goal, there's some fish we haven't seen before. And Yoshi's second attack, besides licking, is juice vomit. There we go, a platform. Now comes the worst part. We have to go up. So naturally, you'd assume you have to keep creating those platforms while inching your way up little by little. And we do get closer to our goal after various retries. But did you know you can change the platform movement behavior by changing your color of Yoshi by eating different fruit? Oh, you didn't? Makes sense since the game never puts you in another situation where this information is relevant. Why didn't the Yoshi Go Round sub-level have an introduction to these mechanics? Imagine a Yoshi-themed old-school level actually featuring a Yoshi. So this cliffside, you probably pass time after time without second thought, has our key to victory. A coconut tree. Eat that fruit, and Yoshi's juice spit now makes platform fish rise up. Finally, we get our shine. That one was bad on so many different levels.
Number 3. I'm a Chuckster.
Okay, change of plans. This isn't actually a top 10 video. I tricked you. It's a top 3. The other 7 were just honorable mentions, because these last 3 levels contain sins so great, Delfino's honorable judge could hand out life sentences. First to the bench is Pianta Village, Episode 5, our final old school level featuring the Chucksters.
I'm a Chuckster.
So this game has featured various Chucksters prior to this point, such as this angry mother, this dude helping us into the trees, this training Chuckster, and the window Chuckster. But those were all inconsequential. There is no foul because there is no harm, even if it does look painful for poor old Mario.
I'm a Chuckster.
These Chucksters, however, are a completely different breed. Why have they all gathered to this dimension in the center of nothingness to show off their chucking? Someone should check in on them. This first Chuckster gives us a warning, but there's nothing that can save us from the horrors to come. This first area can act as a sort of practice zone. Despite all the extra lives just outside this level's entrance, we're gonna need all we can get, so it's a good idea to obtain this high up 1-up on every retry. This isn't a dangerous chuck, but it sure is frustrating, as you could feel you lined yourself up perfectly and still miss. That will be a common theme for this level. You have to carefully watch the direction you stand when speaking to these dudes, because if you're even a hair off, that throws off your trajectory. At this point, we have our choice of 2 Chucksters to choose from, so there's more trial and error than what's inherently present from this mechanic. I always go with the dude on the right, and hope that block catches me. Our next one will throw us straight up, which is on the easier side of things. Up here, we gotta be quick, cause we really don't need Stroll and Stew to complicate things more. We'll have a rounded concave block to catch us, which is nice. We could have used more of these. And now our path splits, but we'll want to take the left route. This Chuckster, pacing around in a circle, is the worst one of them all. His accuracy stats have to be in the single digits. And because he's walking parallel to our goal, it can be hard to determine at which point do we talk with him. Eventually, we will land safe and sound and get our shine. Oh, but that doesn't mean we're done with this level, cause just like the other sub-levels, we'll have to get a secret shine here, 8 red coins, and a time limit. Though with the inclusion of Flood this time around, it makes things more manageable. He won't be able to save us from a bad chuck, cause while we're being thrown, our hover won't activate, but he can help us bypass some of the Chucksters altogether. We'll have to visit an additional platform we didn't bother going to in our initial run, but strangely, that rightmost platform towards the end is not needed. I guess it's just a decoy.
I'm a Chuckster.
Number 2, the pachinko machine.
This level is so notorious, it doesn't need an introduction. It's a creative idea to have Mario be the ball in a pachinko machine, though he doesn't roll like a hedgehog. The problem is, it just doesn't work. Our goal is to collect 8 red coins, though happily, 3 of them can be collected during launch, leaving 5 of them in more difficult to reach areas. You'll want to avoid the bottom, cause there is no way to save yourself once you're down there. No amount of desperate flopping or hovering can rescue you from your terrible fate. Each of our coins will be located in these 5 sockets, but getting there is much easier said than done. For this level, I want you to take everything you've learned about this game's physics from all the other 119 shines and throw it out the freaking window, cause the pachinko machine does not function the way it should. The launch pad can sometimes throw you up no problem, other times shoot you straight into its wall, and at times lack the needed force to send you out. Then, an invisible force pulls you to the center. Seriously, this is something I'll do my best to explain, but there is no substitute to actually feeling it in action. Grab your Switch, jump to this coin, and just give it another go. It feels horrendous. It'll pull you directly to the center, then you'll hit an invisible wall. This is fine if we only need the top coin, but altering this mechanic is a chore. We'll have to push past that stopping point to get to the upper right coin. To get to the upper left, we'll have to try and heal back that initial thrust. Results will vary. If you're lucky, he'll land on a peg, but be warned, he may not jump off the direction you want him to. Here, I'm holding the stick to the left. He won't walk off or even face that way. And upon jumping, yeah, he jumps forward. If you hit any slanted surface, like this house-shaped socket or these blue diamonds, you may as well just set the controller down. Mario is worthless in a sliding state. This bottom left one will be the most difficult one, so I suggest trying for that one first. Only advice I can give you is good luck. Each time you land in a slot, you'll have to wait a full lifetime for Mario to slide all the way down. Great view, too. Speaking of views, you cannot get a good view of the board to see which coins you still need. Looking up doesn't accomplish much. And jumping in? Well, you're too zoomed in, and you'll be preoccupied anyway. Here's a little trick though. Don't bother aiming for that bottom right coin. Save it for last, because there's a way to cheat it. This slope can be very slippy, but it's possible to walk or hover up it. Now, without jumping, blast off with your hover straight into that final coin. Easy enough, though we're not done yet. We now have to navigate to that very center slot to collect our shine. Wouldn't it be absolutely tragic if someone were to have all 8 red coins and die on the way to the shine? This is the most finicky section of the game, and the invisible walls and pushing forces make it almost unplayable. This should be an embarrassment for Nintendo. Not only did they let this out the gate once, they re-released it without fixing it. Imagine if they just paid one dev to clean up the pachinko section for 3D All-Stars. I think that would absolve all other wrongs to do with this collection.
Number 1, Lily Pad Ride.
Alright everyone, we made it to number 1. The worst Sunshine level, in my opinion, is the toxic lily pad ride. But we have to start outside of the level. Our level entrance will be on this here island, but don't think you can just swim there, cause this pipe will be covered with this moving yellow stuff that only a dinosaur's stomach acid can dissolve. How does a Yoshi make it to this island? Boats. Slow, treacherous boats. The canal boat will lead to this first island, but there's actually a shortcut we can take. Don't ask me why a small sandy island needs a sewer system leading to it. Now, we only have to ride 2 of the 3 boats. Getting Yoshi to land safely on top can sometimes be tricky, and we have to be very careful at this exchange between the 2 boats. Hitting the water is not only a frustration, it's a waste of a good chunk of precious time. Eventually, we'll arrive, and we can enter our level. One lone lily pad will sit in the middle of this abstract river, and we'll have to ride it downstream. We've had some practice with this spray boating technique. The lily pads in Bianco Lake, the Tanuki's boat in Noki Bay, and the lava boat in Corona Mountain. But this water doesn't hurt us like the tainted waters we faced before. No, it goes straight for the kill, like the lava. What are they pumping into this stuff? The lily pad will gain speed as we set it off, and we'll have to spray in every which direction to steer it towards the coins. The first 3 aren't bad, but we've got some serious maneuvering to do. Don't hit any wall too hard, cause you'll be knocked right off. And missing a coin may as well end your run, cause it's very hard to return to the start. It is possible, slowly but surely, walking the edge of the wall. You'll want to make the most out of every life you've got, cause the Yoshi ride all the way back is not a journey you'll want to take again. There is one 1-up in this level, but the problem is, it's more than halfway through. Lots of risk involved too. It's easy to miss, but if you already missed a coin, you may as well just hover to it. It's possible to slow the raft down some, but don't take too long, because our platform will disintegrate little by little as we stand on it. The 7th coin we'll have to jump for, which is very dangerous, but that is a short wall walk if needed. And number 8 can be obtained without the lily pad. And our shine is nice enough not to teleport to another hard to reach area. I know that in explaining this section, the pachinko machine may sound worse. I mean, it is fundamentally flawed. but just the sheer number of retries I had to do on the lily pad level alone put it at number 1. Then you add in the awkward controls of spraying away from your intended direction, all while being pulled by the current, and the abysmally slow and tedious Yoshi section you have to do after every single game over, and yeah, it's the worst level. At least in my eyes. But I know you will have a different ranking than me, so feel free to share it. Which levels do you think should have been featured? Or what ones did I dislike that you have a fondness for? Let me know below, and I'll let Mario take it from here.
Thank you everybody for watching the video. If you like this one, why not watch another video starring me, Mario? Hey, what about Luigi? Not now, brother. Okay. Click on the screen now to watch more Mario. Bye-bye. Goodbye.